Hey everybody, welcome back to LegalSpeak. I'm the Law Morris, and this is the video essay series where I talk about the games I've been playing and the medium as a whole. Today we'll be discussing the story of the rebooted Tomb Raider series, but before we jump into all of that, I'm going to hit you with your weekly reminder to check out our podcast, Hard Reset, on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. This week we discussed nostalgia and its effect on video games. Just recently, Tim Miller posted a review of a new third-party Nintendo 64 controller called the Brawler 64 that personally I found intriguing enough to make me want to try one out, so go read that over at coldnorthpro.com where you can find everything we do all in one place. Now, let's get started. Warning, very minor story spoilers may lie ahead. I work hard to keep these videos as generalized as possible so as to preserve everyone's experience, but everyone has a different definition of what can be considered a spoiler these days, so consider yourself warned. Tomb Raider is a series that has been lacking a clear sense of direction since 1999's Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. Fortunately, in 2013, Crystal Dynamics rebooted the Tomb Raider series and made it radically different from what it had ever been previously. Naughty Dog had borrowed a lot from the concept of the Tomb Raider games, and had put their own spin on it with the more character-driven narrative focus we all loved in the Uncharted series. And in 2013, Crystal Dynamics set out to put a similar spin on their new series of Tomb Raider games. I want to take a moment right now to say I don't think Tomb Raider is copying Uncharted, or Uncharted copied Tomb Raider. They've just borrowed from each other as they have iterated on similar ideas. I thoroughly enjoyed both series of games. The first game in Crystal Dynamics' newly rebooted Tomb Raider explored the origins of Lara Croft, and how she became the Tomb Raider. This was great until shortly after the release of the 2015 sequel, Rise of the Tomb Raider, rumors that the third entry in the series that would eventually become Shadow of the Tomb Raider started popping up. These rumors were, and continue to be, that Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the third in a trilogy of Tomb Raider games. While Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the third of the rebooted games, and could very well end the story in a satisfying way, I wouldn't know, I'm only about a third of the way through it while writing this, I don't think it's the third in a trilogy of games. As we all know, trilogies typically make up a massive story arc that is told across three distinct segments, or acts, that feed from one into another. Rise of the Tomb Raider introduced an overarching villainous organization called Trinity that had apparently been plaguing Lara's father and her family for years. The conflict set up in Rise between Lara and Trinity makes for the perfect first part of a three-part trilogy, and sure enough, that conflict flows over into the next game. Personally, I'm a fan of the idea of containing the story being told to a well-rounded trilogy, rather than a never-ending onslaught of adventure after adventure until neither the creator nor the audience can distinguish one from another. Cough, Assassin's Creed, cough. But a tried and true method of storytelling is a main trilogy and an origin story prequel, allowing artists to, in a sense, have their cake and eat it too. Halo did it, Gears of War did it, Uncharted did it, shout out to all you PS Vita owners, the Arkham games did it, and even the original X-Men movies did it. Rise of the Tomb Raider was all about the adventure and the conflict between Lara and Trinity, and from what I can tell thus far, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is on a similar trajectory. Tomb Raider was entirely about Lara and the challenges and circumstances she faced that turned her into the Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider 2013 is already a character-driven origin story, and with the contextual knowledge of all the killing and disaster she faces in Rise and Shadow, it makes those moments like her first kill in the 2013 game even more meaningful. The 2013 game is a fantastic prequel that was made first, which is totally fine. I just want one more game for the Lara v Trinity story to be more fleshed out and conclude in a satisfying way. Let Rise be the first of the trilogy, and Shadow be the second, and give us one more game that really finishes off this iteration of Lara with a bang. The transition from Rise into Shadow feels cohesive and makes sense, and when considered as an origin story with its own arc, Tomb Raider fits in wonderfully. Essentially, my point can be boiled down to this. Tomb Raider was a prequel that just so happened to be made first. Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, please don't stop with Shadow. Make one more game, one more adventure. Let the story breathe and come to a satisfying conclusion, then leave it alone. I've been a Tomb Raider fan since 1996, when I would play Tomb Raider on my neighbor's mom's PC, and have been so happy to see it make such a huge comeback in recent years. I want to see the series that I've enjoyed so much treated with the respect it deserves that frankly it hasn't gotten since Tomb Raider Chronicles. I'm almost never one to advocate for more when what has been made is so good. I didn't want The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't want Uncharted 4. I didn't want Halo 4. And I definitely didn't want Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. But please, Square, please just allow us one more Tomb Raider game. Which is your favorite Tomb Raider game? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button. It's a pretty small party right now, so I'm open to suggestions for topics to cover. Next week's video will be my more complete thoughts on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so I'll see you all then.